All right, everybody, peace. Welcome to the GSMC Basketball Podcast show, brought to you by GSMC Sports Network. As you guys know, I'm your host, Casuan, and it's everyone's favorite day of the week. It's Preview Show Friday, and we have got a wonderful show for you today, guys, filled with previews of the top games of the week in college football. We're going to be previewing Alabama, Texas A&M, Notre Dame, Louisville, as well as the Red River rivalry itself with Texas and Oklahoma. And we're going to start out the show by previewing an SEC matchup between LSU and Missouri. But before we get into any of that, guys, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well, so you guys can stay up to date on all of our latest content that we post daily. Be sure to follow us on Patreon as well. You can do so by going to patreon.com, clicking on the search bar and typing in GSMC Sports. That way you gain access to all of our exclusive content that we post daily. And if you'd like to support our network and our company, you can do so by following the link in the ticker below. It's streamelements.com/GSMC Sports Network./tip. Once again, it's streamelements.com/GSMC Sports Network./tip. Excuse me. None of this is possible without you guys as fans, so it's such an honor and privilege to share with you all my thoughts and my insight on the wonderful world of college football. So with that being said, guys, let's go and get right into it, shall we? So, SEC matchup right here. This is only the fourth matchup between LSU and Missouri since Missouri transitioned over to the SEC back in 2012. And if we look at match predictor, LSU currently has a 70.5% chance of winning the game. The game will be at Memorial Stadium, so a home game for Missouri. Over-under is currently set at 64, and the line currently has LSU -5. And as you guys know, Missouri is actually currently 5-0 with big wins against Vanderbilt, Memphis, and Kansas State most notably. And LSU, as you guys know, had suffered a nail-biting loss to Ole Miss on the road last week. And both teams are offensively minded. Both teams can move the ball offensively. LSU is averaging 551 total yards per game, while Missouri is averaging 453. 353 of those yards are in the air, or through the air for LSU, and 304 for Missouri, while LSU is averaging 198 rushing yards, while Missouri is averaging 149. However, LSU's defense has been a struggle so far throughout the season, most notably in their secondary. We talked about this already. They allow 260 pass yards per game, while LSU does, while Missouri allows 247. However, Missouri's rush defense has been pretty substantial so far this season, only allowing 74 yards on the ground per game, while LSU is allowing pretty much 170 yards on the ground per game. It's interesting though, because we talked about this since week one, how we thought LSU would struggle on the interior defensively because of the pieces that they lost, and talked about how the secondary was supposed to be one of the strengths for LSU going into the season, but it's been the exact opposite. LSU's secondary has struggled immensely so far, while the interior has been pretty substantial. And Missouri has been quite surprised. I did not expect Missouri to be 5-0 at this point in the season. I expected them to lose to Kansas State, but they won in convincing fashion, like I said. And both of these teams are trending in opposite directions. LSU definitely needs a win to control the season. You know, that if they lose this season, they go to 3-3, and they most likely fall out of the top 25. And now you're just playing for pride for the rest of the season, because they've all but eliminated themselves from the CFP at this point. However, Missouri's 5-0, outside chance of making the CFP because they would have to beat Georgia and then Alabama in the SEC championship game. So, but Missouri's trending upwards as a program, and LSU as a program, they're not trending down, but just this season, they would be trending. They're trending down. So both teams need a victory. I do think this game is going to be close, high scoring, and I do think it will come down to the wire. But I have LSU winning this game by a score of 38-34. I think they'll be able to get one last stop on Missouri's final drive, and that will help them seal the victory for them. But I do think this game is going to be close. I do think it's going to go down to the wire, and I do think it's going to be a high-scoring game because both these teams have been struggling immensely as of late in the season. LSU more so than Missouri because we saw they gave up 55 to Ole Miss, an offense that has been struggling the past couple of games when they struggled against Alabama, only scoring 10 points, and then they go and score 55 on LSU. Missouri's defense has been a little better, but the competition hasn't been as good as what LSU's played. Gave 21 points to Vanderbilt, 27 to Memphis, 27 to Kansas State, 19 to Middle Tennessee, and 10 to South Dakota State. So Missouri's schedule hasn't been as strong as LSU's. This will definitely be the toughest opponent that Missouri has faced all year. So LSU has a bit more experience and they're a bit more battle tested at this point in the season than Missouri is, but still think this game is going to be close nonetheless. And like I said, I have LSU win this game by a score of 38-34. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Do you guys think this game is going to be close? Do you think LSU will cover the spread? Do you think they won't cover the spread? Or do you have Missouri pulling off the upset? And is this even considered an upset if Missouri was to win? Seeing where both teams are trending and where they both rank in the AP Top 25 would actually be considered an upset if Missouri wins. Share your thoughts in the chat room, guys. I'd love to hear all about it. But in our next segment, guys, we are going to be discussing the Red River rivalry, previewing that matchup between Oklahoma and Texas. Definitely an exciting game, so be sure to stick around, guys. You're not going to miss any of that content. We'll be right back. Alright, welcome back. In case you missed the first segment of our show, we discussed the preview between LSU and Missouri and how that game's going to be particularly close. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but I do think that LSU is going to... I don't think LSU will cover the spread, but I do think they'll be able to get the victory by a score of 38-34. Both teams, both programs need a victory. Both programs are trending in opposite directions. But let me know what you guys think about that. Share your thoughts in the chat room. In this segment, though, guys, we are going to be previewing the Red River rivalry, guys. Perhaps the most exciting game of the weekend between Texas and Oklahoma. Obviously, one of the most storied rivalries in college football taking place this weekend. This matchup has a lot of college football playoff implications on the line, as well as Big 12 implications, obviously. If we look at the matchup predictor, Oklahoma actually has a 54.5% chance of winning this game, according to matchup predictor. This game will be played at the Cotton Bowl, so it's a home game for Texas. Over-under is currently set at 60.5, and the spread currently favors Texas minus 5.5. Obviously, both teams are undefeated. 2-0 conference play, both of them. Oklahoma is coming off a resounding victory over Iowa State, in which they won 50-20, and Texas is coming off a dominating victory against Kansas, in which they won 40-14. Texas can be argued that you can argue is the most complete team in college football, most balanced. They average 478 yards total offense, 286 in the air, 191 on the ground. They only allow 290 yards per game. They only allow 196 in the air and 94 on the ground. While Oklahoma, no surprise, having one of the best offenses in the Pac-12, averaging 510 yards of total offense, 352 in the air, 157 on the ground, and they are allowing 319 yards of total offense, 212 in the air, and 106 on the ground. So, Oklahoma's defense has been a little bit better than expected, at least on my end, which is part of the reason why they've been so successful, why they're 5-0 and ranked number 12 in the nation. And obviously Texas, everyone saw how good Texas was after their performance against Alabama. And by the way, we talked about a couple weeks ago how losses can start to look better for teams as the season goes on. That loss to Texas for Alabama is starting to look better and better as the season goes along. But I think this is going to be a big test for Texas, but not their biggest test they've had so far, because I do think that Alabama is better. Alabama is better than Oklahoma, but it'll be a good test to see how Texas can perform with pressure being on them, because when they went into Alabama, there really wasn't any pressure on them. They were underdogs, and no one really expected them to win as is. But now that you're not the underdog, you're ranked number 3 in the country, will you be able to handle that pressure? And that is one of the things to look for in this matchup. And when we can look at all the stats, and we can look at the predictions and the lines and the cover and the spreads and things of that sort. But when it comes to rivalry games of this magnitude, you pretty much have to throw all that out the window, because these matchups, these rivalries are always played close, and they're always extremely intense, and and they always turn out to be great games for the most part. Games like the Red River rivalry and the Iron Bowl between Alabama and Auburn, and games like between Oregon and Oregon State, and Mississippi State and Ole Miss. Games like that are always close for the most part. But there's obviously always a heightened level of intensity and the atmosphere around those games are heightened just because of the rivalry aspect of it, right? So, those are things you have to look for, in matches like this, you almost have to completely just throw out the numbers and watch the game for what it is. And I think one thing that I will say though is that Oklahoma hasn't faced the best defensive team, in my opinion, that Oklahoma's faced so far is Cincinnati. And they held them to 20 points. And like I said, I think that Cincinnati is actually the best team that Oklahoma's faced so far. And I don't know if they'll be ready for for Texas, in terms of that level of talent and playing a team of that magnitude. Or it's more so that we're gonna see how good Oklahoma really is in this matchup as well. Oklahoma's good, but I don't think they're on the level of Texas. I think they're still a level below Texas. I think that Oklahoma's the biggest threat to Texas in terms of the Big 12? Sure, you can make that argument. So I think the Texas defense is going to be able to neutralize the offense of Oklahoma. I wouldn't be surprised if they limit Oklahoma to under 400 yards of total offense. Texas does a good job of wearing down opponents as the game goes on. They look kind of like how Alabama looks, in Georgia, and these SEC teams that they start to, they wear down the opponent early, and then as the game goes on, the other team really starts to become affected by the physicality, and it seems like Texas starts to get better as the game goes along, and they catch that second and third win, and it becomes apparent. So, if I had to give a score now, I would say Texas wins by a score of 32-21. 32-21. So yeah, I do have Texas covering the spread. But let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know what you guys think about this matchup. Do you guys think Oklahoma has a legitimate chance of pulling off the upset, or will this be a blowout for Texas, or will it be a blowout for Oklahoma? Share your guys' thoughts in the chat room, because I'd love to hear all about it. But for all intents and purposes, definitely if Oklahoma loses this game, their college football playoff dreams are all but eliminated. And Texas, I don't know if Texas can afford to lose. I think there's so much parity in college football right now that I don't know if you can be a one-loss non-conference champion. I think if you're gonna have one loss, you at least have to be a conference champion. So Texas, I think if Texas loses this game, they would need help as opposed to controlling their own destiny to get to the college football playoff. They would need help to get in. So a lot is at stake for both these teams in terms of playoff implications, which adds just that much more gravitas to the game, to the level of the game. And it's on ABC Prime Network, 12 o'clock, afternoon game. So it'll be exciting. It'll be exciting to watch. It's exciting to watch for sure. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. What do you guys think about this matchup? Oklahoma, Texas, Red River rivalry. And do you think this is the biggest rivalry in college football? Bigger than the Iron Bowl? Is it bigger than, like I said, Oregon State? Is it bigger than Washington State? Is it bigger than Ole Miss, Mississippi State? Is it bigger than Florida State? Is it bigger than Georgia Tech? Share your guys' thoughts in the comment section about this rivalry right here. But in our next segment, guys, we're going to be previewing another SEC match between Alabama and Texas A&M. So be sure to stick around for that, guys. You're not going to miss it. We'll be right back. Alright, welcome back. In case you missed the first couple seconds of our show, we talked about, or we previewed the matchup between LSU and Missouri, as well as the matchup between Texas and Oklahoma. And in this segment, we're going to be discussing the matchup between Alabama and Texas A&M. But before we get into it, guys, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well, so you can stay up to date on all of our latest content that we post daily. And be sure to follow us on Patreon as well. You can do so by going to patreon.com, clicking on the search bar and typing in GSMC Sports. That way you can get access to all of our exclusive content that we post daily. And if you'd like to support our network and our company, you can do so by following the link in the ticker below. It's streamelements.com/GSMCSportsNetwork./tip. Once again, it's streamelements.com/GSMCSportsNetwork./tip. None of this is possible without you guys as fans, so it's an honor and privilege to have this platform and share with you guys my thoughts and insight on the wonderful world of college football. So, that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it, guys. So, we have an SEC West division matchup between Alabama and Texas A&M. Both teams are 4-1, 2-0 in the conference. Matchup predictor currently has Alabama with a 66% chance of winning this game. This game's going to be played at Kyle Field, so it's a home game for Texas A&M. Over-under is currently set at 46, and the line currently has Alabama -2, so Vegas thinks this is going to be a pretty close game. And if we look at the tail of the tape, Alabama averaging 363 yards of total offense, while Texas A&M is averaging 443 yards of total offense, and Alabama is allowing 298 yards of total offense, while Texas A&M is allowing 253 yards of total offense. So if you look at the tail of the tape, you'll think to yourself, wow, okay, it seems like Texas A&M should be ranked and should be, slated to win this game. But that's why you don't want to read too much into numbers. Just looking at numbers and stats can only take you so far, right? If we look at Texas A&M's offense, they put up 34 against an Arkansas team that has struggled defensively all year. Aside from that, they put up 33 against a Miami team that is also struggling offensively, but struggles defensively, but offensively is very profound. And they put up high numbers against opponents like Louisiana Monroe and New Mexico. So outside of Miami, Texas A&M really hasn't faced a worthy opponent. While Alabama, we know their schedule, that they've beaten Ole Miss and Mississippi State, and they had a tough loss to Texas. But you can argue that Alabama maybe has had the tougher schedule so far. But then also just looking at the eye test as well, Alabama's defense, they generate a lot of turnovers. If I'm not mistaken, that they generated 3 turnovers last week against Mississippi State. If I'm wrong on that one, you guys can correct me. But I talked about how their defense might be a bend don't break defense, where you might give up a lot of yards more than usual, but you don't give up a lot of scores. Typically see defenses like that though in the NFL, not too much in college, but I think they're even better than the bend don't break defense. I think Alabama's defense is starting to get in rhythm, especially their secondary. It looked fantastic against Mississippi State. Secondary led by McKistry, who's a sophomore, and I can make the argument that he is the best defensive back in college football right now. But Alabama is going to have to rely on their defense They want to make it to the college football playoff this season because offensively they're going to struggle until they get into a rhythm, until Jalen Milroe starts to feel confident and starts to make quicker reads throwing the ball. But Alabama has, for the most part, at least the last 2 games, done a good job of establishing the run and committing to the run. Led by Chase McClellan, who has 326 yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns so far in the season. And also, these stats by Alabama are a little skewed because that one performance they had against USF was so atrocious that it brought down their averages immensely. So, this is an example where Alabama was much better than what their numbers would show, what their averages would show. Just like how Texas A&M, their numbers are a little inflated, if you ask me. So that's why I don't rely on numbers too much. Numbers can show and reveal certain aspects of the game, but in order to get full context, you have to have the eye test. You have to watch the film and get a true understanding of that in that way by doing that. But I don't think this game's going to be as close as what Vegas is saying. I actually have Alabama winning this game by a score of 32 to 20. So, and actually I would say 32 to 17, but I don't think this game's going to be as close as what Vegas thinks it is. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think this game's going to be close, or will it be a blowout for Alabama, or Texas A&M pull off the upset? It is a home game for Texas A&M, so let me know what you guys think. Share your thoughts in the comment section and in the chat room as well. It's very interesting that Vegas has the spread being that close, but let me know what you guys think. But in our next segment, guys, we are going to be discussing the matchup between Notre Dame and Louisville. Listen, guys, I already know how I feel about Notre Dame, but I'm going to be objective about it, I promise. So, guys, be sure to stick around. You're not going to miss any of that. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the last segment of our show. In case you guys missed the previous segments, we discussed the matchup between LSU and Missouri, as well as the Red River rivalry between Texas and Oklahoma, and we also discussed the SEC matchup between Alabama and Texas A&M. And in this last segment, guys, we're going to be discussing the top 25 matchup between Notre Dame and Louisville. Another exciting matchup. Let's you guys know how I feel about Louisville, but I'm gonna be objective about it and give you guys my honest opinion on this. So obviously Notre Dame is 5-1 on the year. Louisville's undefeated. If we look at matchup predictor, Notre Dame is currently has a 70% chance of winning this game, and the game will be played at Cardinal Stadium, so it's a home game for Louisville. Over/under is currently set at 53.5. And the spread currently has Notre Dame minus 6.5. If we look at the tail of the tape, Notre Dame's averaging 461 yards of total offense, while allowing 271 yards. Louisville averaging 498, close to 500 yards of total offense, however allowing 327 yards of total offense. Listen, I talked about this, it seems like for the past 2 weeks now. Notre Dame struggles immensely offensively. We saw what happened to them against Duke last week, had to squeak out with the victory. But I will give credit to their defense. Their defense is great, is one of the best defenses in the country. However, their offense just struggles tremendously in terms of consistency and maintaining balance. Which is ironic because they have a lot of size at the O-line, but it's interesting that they still struggle in run blocking and establishing the run. But Louisville is a team that hasn't faced much of a challenge so far this season. I mean, they beat in Georgia Tech, they beat in Murray State, they beat in Indiana, Boston College, NC State, and actually last week they only scored 13 points in a close victory against NC State. It can be hard to gauge sometimes how good Louisville actually is. I know they're ranked in the top 25, but they're undefeated, so that's part of the reason, and they're a Power 5 team. But we know with Notre Dame, we've had a lot of film on them. We can gauge where they're at based on teams they played. And they played Ohio State, and as well as Duke, which was a top 25 team at the time when they played them. But like I said, I'm not sold on Notre Dame in terms of them being a legitimate top 10 team in the country. I'm not sold on that yet. And I don't really know what to make of Louisville. They average a lot of yards of total offense. But like I said, they haven't played anybody, so this will be an interesting matchup. Would I say that this is the best offense that Notre Dame has faced so far this year? Yeah. Yeah, because, I'm not really sold on, you guys know how I feel about Ohio State, too. Like, I don't think Ohio State is very good either. Honestly, Ohio State and Notre Dame are pretty much built the same, in my opinion, in terms of neither team, in my opinion, is very good offensively, or at least consistent, and both teams have great defenses, though. Listen, I think Ohio State is at best the third best team in the Big Ten, not better than Michigan, not better than Penn State. Notre Dame and Ohio State are pretty much the same, in my opinion, in terms of their build, I would say Louisville's the best offensive team that Notre Dame has faced this year. So this will be a good test for Notre Dame. But, with all that being said, I do think, though, that Notre Dame is going to win this game I talked about how good their defense is. Listen, Louisville hasn't faced a defense as good as Notre Dame. I don't know if they'll be prepared for that. If I had to give a score right now, I would say Notre Dame wins this game by a score of 24-14. No, 24-17. I'll say 24-17. So, I do think that Notre Dame will cover the spread, but I'll go 24-17, and I think it's more so because Louisville hasn't played a defense as good as Notre Dame. So, like I said, Notre Dame's more battle tested. They have faced tougher opponents so far on the season, and I think they'll be more prepared for this matchup. But what I know is going to happen is Notre Dame's going to win this game. And then people are going to say, well, see, Notre Dame is actually pretty good. They beat another top 25 team in Louisville. But listen, guys, Louisville's a great program, but there's levels to everything, right? This is Louisville. It's not, it's not Ohio State. It's not Michigan. It's not Penn State. It's not Texas. It's not Alabama. It's not Oklahoma. It's definitely not Washington. And so there's levels to this, guys. I mean, I just don't think Notre Dame's on the level of those teams right there. They're a step below that. I have Notre Dame winning this game by a score of 24-17. But let me know what you guys think in the chat room. Do you guys think this is going to be a close game? Do you guys think that Notre Dame is going to blow out Louisville? Do you think that Louisville's going to pull off the upset against Notre Dame? Share your thoughts in the chat room. But with that being said, guys, that is all we have for our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a wonderful episode. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well, so you can stay up to date on all our latest content. Be sure to follow us on Patreon as well, so you can get access to our exclusive content that we post daily. And if you'd like to support our network and our company, you can do so by following the link in the ticker below. It's streamelements.com/GSMC Sports Network./tip. Once again, it's streamelements.com/GSMC Sports Network./tip. None of this is possible without you guys as fans, so we're just so grateful and honored to I'm so grateful and honored to have this platform and share with you guys my insight and coverage on the wonderful world of college football. And if you haven't already, be sure to check out some of the other shows on the GSMC Sports Network: the GSMC Baseball Podcast, the GSMC Basketball Podcast, the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast, and the GSMC Info Podcast as well. All of our hosts provide great insight on the sports that they cover, and it's an honor and privilege to be working alongside some of the best in the business when it comes to sports media personalities. So, that being said, guys, that is it for our show for today. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy all of the games in college football this weekend. We'll be back again same time on Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Continue to stay safe, be vigilant, make smart decisions, and until next time, guys, peace.